writing in The Kerryman on the 4th of December 1965. He spoke about having set off in a car from Dublin to visit his home place in Cahersiveen, County Kerry. The long drive taking its toll by the time he reached the IDE Peninsula. He stopped for a rest in Glen Bay, less than 20 miles from his destination. And in Glen Bay he heard the strains of a familiar ballad coming from a local pub. It was a magnificent tenor voice, he said, singing the praises of the boys of Barr and Sráide who hunted for the ran. He didn't tell us who this magnificent singer was, but the writer of the Kerryman article was the impish, pipe-smoking Sigerson Clifford, composer of The Boys of Barr and Sráide. Poet, playwright, arts reviewer, and full-time civil servant, Sigerson Clifford was the son of Michael Clifford and Mary Ann Sigerson, both of whom hailed from the Kingdom of Kerry. Born in 1913 at number 4 Dean Street in Cork City, he was christened Edward Bernard Clifford at the South Chapel, but he later changed his first name to Sigerson in honour of his mother. When Eddie Sigerson was but a boy, the Clifford family moved back to Kerry, settling in Cahersiveen. And it was here that young Sigerson Clifford fell under the spell of his paternal grandfather, Ned, a gifted storyteller who not only inspired his grandson to immerse himself in writing, but instilled in him a deep appreciation of the people and rich humour of the IDE Peninsula. On completing his education with the Christian Brothers in Cahersiveen, at the age of 19, Sigerson Clifford joined the civil service, working in dole offices in Cork and in Kerry, his job taking him to Dublin in 1943. He married Cork woman Sheila Marie IDE in 1945. The couple went on to have 5 sons and 2 daughters. 1955 saw the publication by Macmillan of Clifford's Ballads of a Bogman, a series of poetic and earthy reflections on the Kerry of his childhood. Oddly enough, the book did not include The Boys of Barr and Sráide, which essentially is Clifford's salute to the Wren boys, who went in search of the Droleen, the wren, on St. Stephen's Day. But the words of the Boys of Barr and Sráide were published on the 19th of December 1954, on page 16 of the Kerryman. The accompanying note stating that the words would suit the air of Adieu to Ballyshanny. The words of Adieu to Ballyshanny, also known as Adieu to Ballyshannon or The Winding Banks of Erne, were written by Donegal poet William Allingham and were first published in 1877 in Allingham's Songs, Ballads and Stories. Adieu to Ballyshanny was subsequently set to music, the verses and melody published as The Winding Banks of Erne in Alfred Percival Graves' 1895 work, The Irish Songbook. Graves informing the reader that the accompanying tune was sometimes known as The River Row. A substantial portion of this particular melody was used for the 1960s ballad The Homes of Donegal. Let's have a listen to The Winding Banks of Erne. It must be said that the winding banks of Erin's jaunting melody is quite different to the soulful melody we now associate with the boys of Barr na Sráide. Writing in the Kerryman on the 15th of August 1986, columnist Tim O'Shea said that it was Sigerson Clifford's friend Sean O'Sheachan who set the boys of Barr na Sráide to music. O'Sheachan using a variant of the traditional air that accompanied songs such as Spancel Hill. O'Sheachan, a fine singer himself, as well as Tim Dennehy, played a key role in popularising the ballad throughout Ireland. Writing in 1965, Sigerson Clifford said that he wrote The Boys of Barr na Sráide to fill a vacant space in The Ballad Maker's Saturday Night, probably one of the most popular series of programmes broadcast on Radio Erin back in the 1950s, for which Clifford and Sean O'Sheachan sometimes prepared the script. "I thought the darn thing was as dead as Cromwell's pet pig," said Clifford. "Maybe it was the one rebel-y verse in it that has kept it alive and kicking on the counters of Glenveigh." Apart from telling the story of some local lads who went in search of the wren on St. Stephen's Day, the rebel-y verse spoke of local resistance to the auxiliaries and the Black and Tans during the Irish War of Independence. Retiring from the civil service in 1973, Sigerson Clifford continued to write until his health began to fail. On the 9th of October 1984, he drafted a letter for his family, providing them with a list of what he described as funeral instructions. "As soon as the coffin arrives," he said, "pop me in, screw down the lid, and tell those who want to stare at me to shove off." He died in Dublin on New Year's Day, 1985, and was laid to rest in Kilnaberno Cemetery in Cahersiveen. John B. Keane composed a sonnet to mark his passing, and Clifford's cousin Dan Sheehan, who is name-checked in Clifford's ballad, laid a wreath at the graveside. Sean O'Shea delivered a moving oration, part of which read, "Whenever men gather in gentle revelry, someone will call for silence, so the singer, yet unborn, shall relive the adventures of the boys of Barr na Sráide." A few months after his death, a monument to Sigerson Clifford was unveiled in Cahersiveen, the cork holly bough featuring a photo of the poet's wife standing beside it. To this day, visitors to the town continue to have their photo taken beside the monument. Thankfully, The Boys of Barr na Sráide was included in the second edition of Ballads of a Bogman, published in 1986. We'll end our story with Sigerson Clifford's sublime ballad, as published in December 1954 in the Kerryman. Oh, the town that climbs the mountain and looks upon the sea, and sleeping time or waking, 'tis there I long to be, to walk again that kindly street, the place my life began. The boys of Barr Sráide went hunting for the ran. With cudgels stout we'd roam about and hunt the droline. We looked for birds in every forest, from Letter to Doneen. We sang for joy beneath the sky. Life held no print or plan, and we the boys in Barr Sráide, hunting for the ran. And when the hills were bleeding and the rifles were aflame, to the little homes of Kerry the Saxon stranger came. But the men who dared the Ogsies and fought the black and tan were once boys in Barr Sráide, hunting for the ran. And now they toil on foreign soil, where they have gone their way, deep in the heart of London town and over on Broadway. And I am left to sing their deeds and praise them while I can. The boys of Barr Sráide, who hunted for the ran. Well, here's a health to them tonight, the lads who laughed with me by the groves of Carron River, or on the slopes of Bannatee. John Daly and Batandi, the Sheehan's Con and Dan, and the boys of Barr Sráide, who hunted for the ran. And when the wheel of life runs down and peace comes over me, just lay me down in that old town between the hills and sea. I'll take my sleep in those green fields the place I grew, a man where the boys of Barr and Sráide went hunting for the ran.